I'm Mike.
And I'm Josh.
And this is Cayuga Bytes. So, Josh, what's going on in our country right now?
Well, as pretty much everybody should know by now, Joe Biden is on the verge of becoming our 46th president.
Very exciting stuff. He beat out Donald Trump. It was a very close race. But Biden winning a few key states really solidified the victory for him. So here in America, we have a new president. We will have to see what the next 4 years brings. Believe it or not, President-elect Joe Biden actually has local ties to Auburn, New York. His first wife, Neela Hunter, was actually a native of Auburn, New York. Her family owned Hunter's Diner in downtown Auburn, New York.
I don't mind waitressing, but I've got bigger plans for my life. At the same time, I can't afford to just quit and go to school full-time. So when I learned that I could finish a degree in business at Cayuga in just 2 years and still keep my day job, I said, sign me up.
The School of Business at Cayuga Community College, right where you belong.
What do you think about that, Josh?
I think it would be pretty awesome if the soon-to-be president came to this town.
What would you say to him?
I would say congratulations.
And here's Com 101 student Nate Hahn on his thoughts on the Electoral College.
Hello, my name is Nick Hahn, and welcome to my broadcast. Due to last week's election and the fact that again the Electoral College has become a topic of hot debate this election cycle, I wanted to touch on some of the facts behind America's presidential election process and why it needs to be changed. Every 4 years, we cast our ballots to decide who the next president is. The system is set up so every state has a set amount of electoral votes based on the number of representatives they have in the House of Representatives, plus 2 for that state's 2 senators. If the winner of the popular vote of a certain state wins by even 1 vote, they receive the entirety of the electoral votes, regardless of how close the other candidate is. Because a candidate only needs 270 electoral votes to win, it can lead to instances in which the winner of the election receives fewer votes than their opponent. This has happened 5 times in our country's history, with the 2 most recent occurrences happening in the 2000 and 2016 election. This winner-take-all method can seem somewhat undemocratic, and that's because its creators intended it to be. Hailing from backgrounds as wealthy and elite merchants, bankers, slave traders, and plantation owners, the Founding Fathers believed or were persuaded in the preservation of elite rule. The Electoral College was always meant to stifle votes and the will of the people and promote the rule of the wealthy few. And while many supporters of the Electoral College will claim that it prevents against a tyranny of the majority, it actually leads to something much worse, a tyranny of the minority. See, although you'd think that every single vote counts for the same amount, this is not technically true. Your vote is weighted more in states with smaller populations, like Vermont or Wyoming, than in states like Texas or California, as there are fewer voters for each representative to represent. And because of the nature that most states will always vote a certain way, leaving only a few swing states to decide the outcome of the election, as much as 75% of Americans have no say in the presidential election. This dynamic is one of the main problems behind the Electoral College. It creates safe states in which the candidates know they will always win. It allows candidates to ignore the vast majority of their constituents and hyper-focus on only a few million voters, rather than the entirety of the population which they will govern once they take office. This is not a healthy sign of democracy. Again, it means that candidates don't focus on the issues facing millions of Americans in states that won't decide the election. For example, they focus on fracking because it is an important issue to Pennsylvanian voters who could swing the entire election, but not the poverty that ravishes many in rural West Virginia or Arkansas because their votes, unfortunately, are just not that important. Because of the winner-take-all method, there isn't even a reason for a Republican in a Republican state such as Oklahoma or a Democrat in a Democratic state like California to go out and vote because other voters in their state will carry the vote for them. In any society, we should strive to make sure that every person has a voice, regardless of class, race, or socioeconomic conditions. No country should be governed by just those who have wealth or happen to live in a specific county or state. The voice of a Republican in New York or California or a Democrat living in Alabama should have just as much weight as those who live in Florida or Pennsylvania or Michigan. Regardless of how you vote or your political leanings, every single American should want to live in a country where their vote matters, especially in a country that ostensibly was founded on liberty, justice, freedom, and equality for all.
Did you know that when the front entranceway of the college, there's a table set up? Have you seen that?
No, I've not.
So basically there's an empty table with a setting and there's booths under it. And the explanation is each part of the table setting has its own meaning, which you can find out in this edition of the Collegian.
Here's an update from our very own Jenna Fields on what the rest of the semester is going to look like here at Cayuga.
As many students know, coming to Cayuga Community College this year was going to be a challenge. Cayuga Community College put in many protocols, such as biweekly testing, temperature checks at the door, and so much more. It's just come to attention that starting Monday, November 30th, that most on-campus courses will shift to distance learning. Some support services will be open, such as the library will be open in person Monday through Thursday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Then computers in the library will be open, but access to the campus will be limited to students who are still attending in-person classes during the time. This information is new to all students, and they are still waiting to find out what coming back to Cayuga in the spring semester will be like. But there's plenty of time till then. I'm Jenna Fields, and you're watching Cayuga Bytes.
So this new update for the remainder of the semester will go into effect starting November 30th, 2 weeks before the fall 2020 semester ends. And you can read a lot more about the upcoming changes in this latest issue of the Collegian.
Hi, I'm Emily Lane, and this is Cayuga Bytes.
Cayuga Bytes' very own Josh Hart sat down with various members of the Telcom department to talk about how they're handling COVID-19.
It's a semester like no other semester before it. Entrance and exit doors are off limits. Students and staff are required to be scanned upon entering. Tutoring services only available by appointment. Walkways are scattered with one-way direction arrows and signs reminding to social distance. Parking lots and student lounge areas remain eerily vacant. Lab classrooms and activity centers remain shuttered. Pens must be separated into categories of new and used. Hydration stations temporarily inoperable. The post-quarantine look of Cayuga Community College is unlike anything the college has ever seen in its past 67 years of operation.
We haven't had to deal with this for the last 100 years, so it's all new to all of us.
The highly popular Telcom department at Cayuga Community College's School of Media and Arts has wasted no time taking liberties to help keep their students safe in this new COVID-restricted environment.
We decided to front load all of our labs and start productions the second week of the semester. That way we'd be done with productions on November 6th, just in case if there was a second wave outbreak of the virus, which everybody has been predicting. In the TV studio and the radio station, every student has to continue to wear their mask, and also we have distributed gloves and sanitizing wipes like Clorox wipes. We have sanitizing cleaner, so every time we're done in either the TV studio or the radio station, we sanitize the entire place where there was people using the equipment and stuff, and we clean it and try to do our best to do it. And then wait an hour or so and let it dry and let it linger all over. In the TV studio, when we do a production, we have to give them face shields on top of their masks, and that will help stop the spread of the virus.
Additionally, TV production sets have been kept set up all semester round, and most non-hands-on learning classes have been moved online to programs like Zoom and Blackboard Collaborate. So as you can see, the amazing staff here at Cayuga Community College has been taking a lot of steps to keeping students safe. Best part about all of this is we now have proof that these methods have been successful, as over the past several weeks, Cayuga Community College has started performing COVID surveillance testing on both campuses, and very few, if any, tests have ever come back positive. Despite students adjusting well to the college's new temporary setup, staff members do have to admit they really miss having students together on the campus with them.
The thing that I find the most inconvenient about working on platforms like Zoom and Collaborate is that, we're not together in the classroom. We're not together in labs. We're not together in productions.
So with the pandemic going on, there's not a lot of people hanging out on campus like they used to. That's the one thing that I miss seeing is just people on campus and being around people, because that's kind of what we do here.
But thankfully, there is still one thing that hasn't been changed, and that thing is the students willing to thrive and succeed in a college environment.
The least affected by all of this is the students' interest in learning. The students really want to learn. They are interested in what we're doing and are working to overcome all the obstacles.
It's a stark reminder that even in one of CCC's darkest hours, there are some things that can never be taken away. I'm Josh Hart, and you're watching Cayuga Bytes. Cayuga Bytes' very own Pat Mahunik recently spoke with the coordinator of the nursing lab program here at CCC and had a discussion about how the very successful program has been adjusting to COVID-19.
As many programs had to move online this past spring semester due to COVID-19, one program remained open here at CCC, and that was a nursing program, as it's one of the best nursing programs in New York State.
Oh, it was very challenging, but we were ready for it. We were already doing some of our classes online via Zoom and via Blackboard. In the nursing lab, we had to control density in the nursing lab, so we just had to readjust how we scheduled students. It was challenging both for the faculty and the students because although they had just as many times available to come in and practice, it was more restricted. So they didn't have as many choices, yet they had just as many appointments that they could come in and practice. It was just a matter of looking at the numbers and when staff could work and when students were available. It was challenging, but we were able to do it.
The nursing program, like many programs here at CCC, are unable to get back to normalcy quite yet. But once it does happen, they want to make sure they can be as successful as they can possibly be.
We're not near normal in the nursing program or the nursing lab. Having said that, we are getting the students what they need to meet the outcomes of the program. They are going to clinical with adjustments. We're working in the nursing lab with adjustments. They're having classes, their exams with adjustments. So it is not near our normal. Hopefully it won't continue to be the normal. We're learning from it. The students are learning from it. They're getting what they need to graduate. We're confident about that. So again, we're going to see what happens in the future, but we're prepared to do whatever we need to do to get the students what they need.
The nursing program will stay open and do their labs in class, but they'll do their labs by appointment, 2 students in at a time, and wearing a face mask at all times and staying 6 feet apart at all times. I'm Pat Mahunik, Cayuga Bytes.
Have you heard any Christmas music on the radio yet?
Nope, and it's going to stay that way because I don't use the radio.
Why don't you like Christmas music? Oh, get back here.
I don't trust.
You are a skew.
I pressed X to doubt. She's going to do it. And I'm trapped now.
Like that band that made Headstrong. Pat, can you dance?
I don't dance.
Here's Jenna Fields with her interview with Mark Bond on his trip to Japan and the documentary on anime that he's been working on. Let's take a look.
You know that a very own Cayuga student over break traveled to Japan and while there recorded, edited, and produced his own documentary.
And that's why I'm here in Japan, to find out why 2D characters and storylines that were produced on the other side of the world came to mean so much to millions all over the globe. My name is Mark Eric Seabon. Come with me as I travel across Japan to better understand the culture that created this unique art form and to understand how anime changed Japan and the world. Here on Anime in the Real World.
I took the time to talk to Mark about his experience and what he would like to tell people about his documentary.
The biggest thing is an understanding of another culture's art form. That anime is not like Western animation. It is a lot more complex than most people think. And I hope also that people who remember watching animes when they were kids will be reintroduced to them and start watching them again, because it is such a unique and specifically Japanese cultural form of art. Do you remember the first anime you ever watched?
When asking Mark what stood out to him the most, he said what he learned at Cayuga helped him through the process.
Biggest thing, and I have to give a lot of credit to the professors here at Cayuga, is because I was filming during the COVID event, I had to stop what I was doing a lot of the time and come up with whole new concepts of filming and recording. And I didn't even know I had those skills. I didn't know I could stop on a dime and rethink that day. Oh, I traveled to a location, it's now shut down because of COVID. I've got to find a new location, and I've got maybe 2 hours, maybe 3, until the sun's down. And I only have this day in this area to record. So that ability to be able to keep going in a second's notice, it's probably the biggest thing. And again, I have to give it to the professors who taught that to me, and I didn't even realize it. It's an episodic series, so it's going to be 7 episodes, about 20 minutes each. But I'm thinking it's going to start after Thanksgiving. There will be a few bonus episodes that deal with subjects I only touched on in the series and wanted to get into more depth.
Feel free to check out the episodes that Mark has already uploaded, and he explains where you can find his documentary on YouTube.
The documentary is on YouTube. You can type in Anime in the Real World. It does not have its own URL right now because it's a brand new series, but at this point in time, there are all 7 of the episodes up, and stay tuned, and there will be a couple more in the future.
That was Mark Bond, graduate and returning student at Cayuga Community College. Check out his documentary on his YouTube page, Anime in the Real World. So go and submerge yourself in the full experience.
I'm Jenna Fields, and you're watching Cayuga Bytes.
How was your week?
It was terrible.
What did you do?
Well, I braved myself up. I sat there, and I think the election made me crazy a little bit because I watched the Cats movie.
How was that?
I didn't say I finished it.
That's understandable. If you've watched the trailer,
Isn't Jason Derulo in it?
I don't know. There's a lot of people in that movie.
It was just random stuff going on the first few minutes. Then I saw a cat, and then I ran out of my room because I was scared.
So don't watch the Cats movie.
Have you seen them? Everything's cat about them except their noses for some reason.
Don't watch the Cats movie, apparently.
Being a part of the Collegian has been so much fun. Being here on campus, being a part of Cayuga Bytes, writing for the Collegian. It's just really cool to be a part of something on campus here at Cayuga, and I really have a fun time with other students, making all the content.
We want to hear your stories, so be sure to send them to us at cayugacollegian@gmail.com.
Write about whatever you want. Sports, news, fashion. We want to hear from you, whether you're at Auburn or Fulton. It can be done virtually, so please get involved.
Being part of Cayuga Bytes and helping contribute to the Collegian has been one of the best things that's ever happened to me.
Would you guys like to meet our next editor-in-chief? Come on out. Our new editor-in-chief is Mike Perry.
He's a bit too much.
Oh, sorry.
But you'll love him.
Thanks.
Here you go. Start making editor-in-chief decisions.
I'm Pat.
And I'm Jenna.
And you're watching Cayuga Bytes.
You can contact us at cayugabytes@gmail.com. Thanks for watching.
Everyone who is a student at Cayuga must write a story and submit it, or else you are expelled.
That's communism.
Mary Merritt has been trapping me here at the Collegian and forcing me to write. Help me, please. Come here and write.
Okay, I'm done.
I dance when I'm forced to.
Is that slow enough?
I dance when I'm drunk and when I'm in a good mood.
So you're...
That's all the time?
You see,
Mahonek.
Mahonek.
It's Mahoon. It's who. Just basically, the U sounds like two O's
Town.
together.
Whoville.
Exactly.
That has a package on football. There is no audio.
We're gonna get
But it's great.
We're gonna get audio, so don't worry. All right.
How was your week, Jenna?
Okay.
What happened?
I drank a lot.
Yes, exactly.
Whoville.
So Mahonek.
Mahonek.
Remember, kids, alcoholism is not the answer,
But once you're legally able to drink, that's okay.
but you're not.
I am.
Oh shit.
We'll investigate.
We will investigate, so don't worry.
Shit.
See?
Hey, I got farther than you.
You got part of it.
Did you put those updates in the Collegian? Would you guys like to meet our next editor-in-chief? Well, here he comes. Come on!
It's Mike Perry the Platypus.
It's Mike Perry! Is he in frame?
It's
Oh, that's way too much.
All right.
We're not actually doing the show right now. We're just kind of rehearsing. Mahonek.
Yep.
Mahonek. Okay,
Like,
got it.
you can go like, ooh, Nick.
Mahonek. All right. I'm gonna give this time. What he said.